My second setup video. At this stage you would have in the last video we covered setting up the spreadsheet and bringing in the data for basic usage. The basic usage is just simply the training advice. If all you're going to use this sheet for is training your players so that you bring this list up at the end, that's absolutely fine, but there are a number of features in the spreadsheet that will take the data further, which is all of these yellow features. If you want to use any of these yellow features, you need to follow these the next instructions. If you don't follow them, you can't use those features. So what we're going to do, initial setup is tricky. You will only ever need to do this once. When you buy and sell players, you just add one player and you remove one player. But obviously when you install this, you'll have 21, 25, 11 players, and obviously you need to get those into the system. And you do this using the player purchase data. What this screen is, I'm going to show you as it's blank. When it calculates growth of players, it needs a start point. What the sheet will do is it will say Fred Bloggs, the goalkeeper, you purchased him on the 1st of January at a cost of whatever, and you put his start and stats in, and they may total, let's say for argument's sake, 100 abilities in total. When you've had him, so I forgot what I said his purchase cost was, so we'll call him $1 million. So after 10 days he may be on 110 abilities. So the system will know, because you've got the start abilities and the purchase date and the purchase cost, you've had him for 10 days, so his average cost per day is 100,000, which over time will get lower and lower and lower. He starts with 100 abilities, he's currently on 110, so he has a growth of 1 ability per day. So there's 2 ways you can set this up, and I'll explain both. Obviously you've got your data in the system, which is how you've got this list of players. You need to go into the raw data. Now when you have all these tabs, now what it is, you've got a series of hidden sheets. There's lots and lots and lots of sheets. If I had all of them open, there would be so many down this part of the sheet that would just be uncontrollable. All these buttons do is just opens the sheet, and then once the sheet, see there's a tab open at the there's a tab open at the bottom. You click main menu, it closes the tab. If you watch down the bottom of the screen, and it closes the tab. A little, what I call a cheat, is if you're going to flick between two sheets, open the sheet, then click on the menu tab, and then open another sheet, and then when you've finished with them, just click into the main menu, then click into the second tab, main menu. You can leave the tabs open if you want, it makes no difference. So first of all we're going to open the player purchase data, and then I'm going to click on the menu, and then I want to open the raw import. Sorry, I'm going to show you the second method first. So the first method, do you know what? No, I'm not. Right, now what you would do is on this raw data, you click on the first name and you highlight every single one, and then you copy. Now I'm actually going to highlight all bar the last player. The reason I'm going to not highlight the last player is so that I can then show you how to use the second method to input them. So we're pretending we've highlighted all of them. So Control and C, or right click and copy, and then go into, again my PC is slow, I'm actually uploading videos. So in the first available cell, Control and V. Now when you purchase the player, obviously you would put the date that you purchased the player in. You don't have any data, you don't have access to these start dates, so I would recommend that you put today's date in, and today is actually the 13th of February, and then all I'm going to do is I'm going to just put that for, I'm just doing control and paste to save me typing the same thing over, and the starting stats. Now the purchase cost, the only place you can get that from is your history of your players. It's going to be quite laborious to click on each player, look at the history, etc, etc. I'm going to recommend that you fill in 2 or 3 dates a day. Depends how much free time you've got. But yeah, all you can really do is just click on the player, then click on his history, see how much you bought him for, or you could see you could put the actual purchase date, but that will screw the stats up. If you put the actual purchase date, then you're going to have to put the stats on the day that you purchased him. But I will come to the stats later. But yeah, look, there's 1 2 1 2 1 3, 1 2 1 2 1 3. So as you can see, it takes a little while to do each one. So just do that one at your own pace. So now his stats will always be on this AJ line. You will notice that I've hidden some of the lines up. The reason I've hidden some of them up, I'm going to unhide. The raw data is just a garble of information about each player. Some of it you're going to use, some of it is in formats that aren't really readable. Let's go back. You've got the player's ID. We don't need the player's ID. We've got the player's name. We've got the age. We've got the birthday. VM fiddles the birthdays so that they say that, like this player for example, he was born on the 2nd of November or the 11th of February 2013. It's just so that because it takes the difference between that date and today's date, divides that by 30, and that gives us the player's age. You just need the player's birthday so that you can calculate how many days until his next birthday. You've got the player's leg, you've got the country ID. Now that's really hard, just unless you memorise 50 different country codes. It's hard to tell if that's Denmark or if it's America or England. So, but it's done on number codes. Player's height and weight, I don't know anyone that actually takes that one seriously. It's just not used in the game. Value position, there's descriptions such as talents, class players, wonder kids. If the player's on auction, it comes up as auction bid. And the contract expiry. I'm still looking into how to use that contract expiry, but yeah, basically you've got lots and lots and lots of data, the hair, the mood, so on and so forth. So what I actually do, I'm just going to Control Z. What that does is that just hides up the data, just so it makes it look easier on the screen. So we're going to copy all of that data bar 1, because remember we need that last one to show you the second method, and then on player purchase data, in that starting stats line D and 4, we paste that in, and you'll see there that you've got a sum there. Never ever delete this. Actually it doesn't matter if you do, it's just for your reference. So that's your players placed in. So what it's saying is all of those players were purchased on the 13th of February. they have those stats. So this guy here, Haggerty, he has 9.989 total stats. If tomorrow or after I train he has 10 stats, then it calculates how many stats he's gained. Oh, sorry, abilities. When I say stats, I always mean abilities. It calculates how many abilities he's gained per day average. So the last player that I'm going to input is a player called Godoy, and the alternative, and I think the best way, you go to any of the club players, any of the the pages. Sorry, I do apologise. 20 to 7 in the morning, and my mouth's not quite working. So any page where it provides a link to the player's page, just copy the name. Come on, computer. So you copy the name. You could equally do this from the player's page. So I've just copied the name, highlighted the name, copied by doing Control and C, and then, oops, so you don't need the player raw. You will need the raw data, right? And then on the player purchase data, you paste in the name, and you will notice that it comes up as blue. If you highlight over that, you'll see a little box come up. And what you're doing is you're pasting not just the player's name, but you're posting a link to his player page. So then we're going to type in the purchase date. I will be doing another video, probably next, on how to buy players. When you have an individual player. Sorry, changing the subject. So we just copy his stats, Control and C, and then we paste them in, and that's the alternative method. The reason I like this way is there's another calculation. The next sheet I'm going to show you, I'm not showing you the sheet, I'm showing you about the link to the player. I've pasted that link in. When we go into player assessment, you will see down here some of the players have and haven't got this link. So Godoy, who we've pasted in, it's stripped the URL out. It's placed the URL there as a link and just the player's name there. This particular page, it will give a player assessment, and it will tell you whether to keep the player or sell the player. What I would be doing is I'd be going, right, okay, yeah, I don't want that player. Now you then go into VM, you find the player, you then press all this link will do is, if you want to look at that player in more detail, you just click on the link and it will automatically open a new page in your default browser at that player's link. My computer is dead slow. Hopefully yours will be quicker. So I'm just going to carry on while that loads up. I'll click it and it'll probably open up a second, but there we go. So there's the automatic loading of the player's page, just so that you don't have to go into, you could be on a forum page, so you've got to go to your team page, and then just closing that because I have deliberately opened 2 pages. So the reason we have that link there is because it's simply because we have placed it as a link there. So that is setting up your team for intermediate use. I'm going to actually cover these buttons individually on later videos, and I'm going to do actual buying and selling of individual players on a later video. You'll also notice that one player I've placed the purchase cost on, Do you know what? I can't even control right player assessment. So this, the guy that we've actually put the value in for, he now has a fee, and he has a cost PD. Cost PD means cost per day. If I just fiddle, just for demonstration purposes, I'm going to change his purchase date to the 10th of February, and you'll see that his cost per day is now changed to 5,426, whereas before it was a lot higher. It just means that for each day you've had the player, it's cost you so much. So if you spend 10 million, you've bought him today, you've spent 10 million a day on that player. If you tomorrow, then obviously you've spent 10 million, you've had him 2 days, he's cost you 5 million per day. The calculations are a lot more complex than that, and I will go through that in another video. So guys, that is the setting up for intermediate use. It's not using it at intermediate level, it's just setting up. Okay, thank you guys.